8 generations and same tall, narrow shape every single time. Until now, Samsung completely tore up the blueprint on the Fold and gave us something completely different. I've been living with it and using it as my main phone for the past few days, and I have some thoughts. This is the new Galaxy Z Fold 8. Enjoy the episode. It's July 23rd at around 8 in the morning. I literally had 4.5 hours of sleep. I think I might be a little too excited about this phone. Now, the loaner unit was shipped out by Samsung Canada. Big thanks to the team for shipping the phone out so quickly. And a big, massive thanks to all of you for watching these videos, for being here. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Fold 8. We're going to do a battery test, camera test. We're going to look at how the display actually works in different fold modes. The phone is coming in today, and for the next couple days, I will be filming non-stop and make a bunch of short form content on the side as well. So if you do watch this video and enjoy it, please help me grow this community by subscribing. Thank you. Now I just gotta wait for the phone. What do I do with my life?
5 hours later.
And the package is here. I actually did get my hands on a Z Fold 8 briefly a couple weeks ago. And I remember thinking, this is a very interesting form factor. So I wanted to cover this device before the Ultra. So I'm going to be using the lavender version of this phone for the next bit. Opening the box, the first thing you're going to realize is that it's light. 201 grams. I'm kind of wondering what that extra gram is. Anyways, it's so light. It's Samsung's lightest Fold yet. And you feel that the second you pick it up. And then there's the new shape. If you used any of the previous Folds, that tall, narrow look, this is not that. The 4x3 body is a genuinely different phone in your hand. Folded or unfolded, it takes a bit to calibrate yourself to it. And then the flat sides are something I will forever be a fan of with phones. It gives the whole thing a more grounded, premium grip. None of that slippery, rounded edge feel. Love it. And the opening experience. This also has been improved. This is where the new hinge really shows up. It's so much easier to open now. One motion and it opens. I know it sounds like a small thing on paper, but with a foldable, that is a big chunk of the experience for obvious reasons. So it is somewhat normal for phones to heat up when setting them up for the first time. So let's just do a quick comparison between the iPhone 17 Pro, S26 Ultra, and the Fold 8. Let's just turn them all around. The iPhone and the S26 Ultra is just not doing anything, so that is the iPhone. S26 Ultra and the Fold 8. Usually bottom is cooler, up top might be a little hotter. That's not bad. Like, considering all the things that it's downloading and setting up, like that, let's see. Yeah, that's not bad. It took me about 40 minutes to set everything up and transfer stuff from my S26 Ultra. Now I'm ready to really use this thing. Of course, what makes this phone really special, other than the new form factor, is the display experience. And you might be asking, which one? And this is where this phone gets really fun. Let's talk about the inner display first, because this is the part I noticed within the first hour of using this phone outside. We're at 3000 nits peak brightness now, up from 2600 on the Z Fold 7. That doesn't sound like a huge bump on paper, but combined with the new anti-reflective coating, it's a completely different outdoor experience. I've been able to check my messages, scroll while sitting by a window or outside on a patio, and look, the Galaxy S series has a spectacular anti-reflective coating. I'm just happy to see this on the Galaxy Foldables. Reflections don't disappear completely, but the intensity goes way down, and that's what we all need. One thing that is worth mentioning though, the anti-reflective coating is only on the inner display. The cover screen doesn't get it, so outdoors you'll still notice a difference between the two panels, which is a small thing, but as someone who's outside a lot filming, I did pick up on pretty quickly. Now with foldables, the biggest concern is the crease. The Fold 8 and the new Flex Titanium technology on the Galaxy Foldables handles majority of the crease. This new display structure, like I said, is called Flex Titanium. It's a titanium alloy film paired with a titanium plate built into the layers of the display itself. And the point of it is twofold. First, it makes the crease noticeably less when the screen is unfolded. Second, it makes the whole panel more durable without adding thickness. So at the end, you're getting a phone that is thinner than before, but the display itself is tougher. Now there are also a bunch of different ways you can actually use the Fold 8. And this is where this phone gets very interesting because the wider body changes how you use it day to day. So for example, cover screen first. At 5.5 inches, this is the first fold cover screen that actually feels like a phone screen you can use with one hand. And guys, I gotta say, I use the cover display more than the inner display. Like after the few days that I spent with this phone, I'm thinking to myself, if there was ever a phone that is this size at this ratio and had flagship features, I would definitely consider it. Like, here's the difference between the S26 Ultra, and the typing experience is just so fun on the 4:3 ratio. The size of the keyboard on the bottom is just so perfect. Now, when unfolded, we have a beautiful 7.6-inch inner display, and this is where the wider aspect ratio actually pays off. Split screen, multi-window, feels like you're actually using a tablet or a compact laptop. I actually scripted this entire video on this phone. I wanted to take a different approach when writing this video, and I wanted to write as I explored this phone. This way I'm not so spec oriented. But then I also consumed content on here. Because of that 4:3-ish shape, content that's natively 4:3 fills the screen with no letterbox, and even 16:9 videos has noticeably smaller black bars than before. And here's something that needs to be talked about more, I think. Not sure if anyone else is trying to use the phone like this. Technically, there's no flex mode on the Z Fold 8, but the YouTube app kinda works like flex mode. The way you do it is you use the cover screen as the base and find a sweet point where the screen will not slowly push back and close. So yes, there is no official flex mode, but this is somewhat of an unofficial way of doing it. And it only works on YouTube, so there's that. Now, this phone is great for consuming content, but what about when it comes to creating the content? On the back of the phone, we got two cameras that are 50 megapixel ultra wide and wide sensors. Since we got RAW support here, I can shoot in whatever style I like and finish it off the way I like it in post. Same for video. All the familiar formats are here: APV, log, RAW format. So if you're a creator who likes to color grade or edit photos in a deeper way, you have full control. Now here are some photo examples with edited and non-edited versions. I think for casual everyday shooting, this phone is great, especially if the ultra wide and the wide angle zooms work for you. Now I will say there's a compromise here. That 50 megapixel main sensor is the same wide sensor Samsung has been using for generations now. It's also what gives you that 2x optical quality zoom, so there is no dedicated telephoto. So if you're someone who shoots a lot of zoomed in photos or portraits from a distance, if you want those features, you should look at the Fold 8 Ultra. But where Samsung makes up for it is the software. Whatever's under the hood on that hardware side, the processing, the color science, the scene optimization, it's genuinely the best Samsung has to offer right now. And they don't dial it back on this device. For everyday shots, close-ups, wide landscapes, group photos, it holds up really well. The issue really comes out when you hit that zoom territory. That's where you kind of hit the hardware ceiling. Okay, so time to talk about the battery. Now, I've been out for almost the entire day. It is 7:30 p.m. I plugged off the phone around 11 a.m. The phone is exactly at 11%. I'll actually put screenshots of the stats here so you can take a look at it for yourself. So I've been using the phone for about 9 hours or so. I had max brightness on this thing. I was editing photos, writing the script for this video. I was monitoring the camera with the phone. So the phone has been doing a lot today, and it's still, like, up top, it's still learning the patterns. The battery is at 4800 milliamp hour, up from 4400 on the Fold 7, and it is now paired with a more efficient chip this year. In actual use, I've been getting through a full day without babying it, and even on this initial test, it has carried me throughout the day. We will definitely look at the battery again in the upcoming weeks. So, is this phone worth switching to? It really depends on where you're coming from, but whatever you're coming from will most likely not have this versatility that this form factor brings. In terms of performance, this phone has the latest flagship processor, and if you realized, I didn't even talk about it in this video because it's just too good. So you are really coming in for that new form factor and the size of this thing. Someone that ordered the phone sent me the screenshot. I'd like to think all the content helped, but they said that the inner display is a big bonus, but they went for it because of the handling experience when folded. Plus, it comes with the latest chip, upgraded battery, a decent camera system depending on your zoom needs. We will definitely cover the Z Fold 8 again in the upcoming weeks. Maybe a week in the life would be awesome to really dive deep into this phone, so do stick around for that. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, it has been a pleasure, and I'll see you in the next one.